I found the best way to make your displays look bigger is by having boom, 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 you know, that stuff. It sounds too simple, but it actually makes your shows look 10 times bigger. With a rack design like this, you can now turn canister shells into a cake. You are making the 500-gram cake look larger than it is. It's gonna cost you a little bit more money. You're gonna get more wows, more oohs and ahs, if you will. It's a great way to get eyes on every part of your display. I'm talking to you guys that do fireworks shows for your family on the 4th, any backyard guys, or any professionals too. I'm about as close to a professional as you can get because I've seen some pros do the same thing I do. You're not gonna believe what we're doing today. Fireworks. All right, so this is a fireworks show that I do every year annually. And last year, the show didn't work because I forgot to put a trigger button on the script, which means I had no idea what to press. So luckily, I was reminded of a little thing on Cobra Show Creator, where if you forget to put in a trigger button, the remote's already on channel 0. And I think it was something like channel 0 Q1 is what starts the script. But because you're in a panic, the show started, it's already going, you wanna make sure it looks good. I'm just sitting there manually firing these things off script, which made it look like garbage. I was really disappointed in how that show went, so this is my shot at redemption. So as you can see, we got a pickup full of fireworks, just like last year and the year before and the year before. I gotta get all these things out. I think before we start talking about them, I'd like to get them out because we're gonna lose daylight soon, which, by the way, it's an absolutely beautiful day out. This is the 2nd year in a row that we've gotten lucky on the weather because every year before last year, it's either been blizzarding or super windy. I don't want to jinx anything because wind was in the forecast and it's really dry. As you can see, there's a little bit of snow, but not enough. So fingers crossed, we don't burn down this town. Well, this is what all of the fireworks look like outside of the pickup. So now what I gotta do is get them to their stations. There's gonna be 3 of them in total. Where everything is sitting right now, this is what I like to call the middle position. And then out of the camera frame, we've got the right and left position. You can't see it right now, but I'll show it to you in a bit. Now, basically, in an effort to make my firework displays better and larger, over the past few years on my channel, I've recently been introducing this idea into my shows where I spread out my fireworks. It sounds too simple, but it actually makes your shows look 10 times bigger. For example, if you've got 3 of these cakes right here, the max load 35, it's gonna cost you a little bit more money. But what's nice is you can have one of these firing in the middle, one on the left, and one on the right, and they all complement each other. Consumer fireworks I've found to be a little inconsistent on their timing. So like when I'm plugging all these times into the computer, it's usually off by a second or 2. There's not much you can do about that. If you really want to eliminate that problem entirely, you would be better off switching to 1.4 Pro line product, which are those silver slices you're seeing up front there. It's the only thing here that doesn't look like the rest of the stuff. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is time lapse our setup on the middle, left, and right station. We gotta get everything where it's supposed to go, hook it all up before it gets dark, and when we're done doing that, I'll get right back to you. All right, so the entire firework display is set up now. What I'm gonna do is run a continuity test by turning on the 18R2 remote. This is from Cobra Firing Systems. If you go to their website, you can order those modules like you see over there, and you can get this remote. And then with Cobra Show Creator, that's where you run a script and put in all your times for all the different fireworks. You can script a show just like I've done in this video, and essentially what we're gonna do now is just let the remote turn on. See, we're on channel 0. So I know that I've got 5 channels in total on this display. So we're gonna go up to channel 1, and there you can see they're all green. Okay, that's a good sign. That means everything's hooked up the right way. Channel 2, you'll notice everything is also green. 18 of them in total, so that's good. Channel 3, all 18 are green lit. That's a really good sign. Channel 4, same thing. Everything got hooked up the right way. And moment of truth, the last 2 cues, which is channel 5, I just ran out of spots, otherwise these would be on channel 4. But as you can see, those are both green. That means this entire show should go off without a hitch. Well, we've lost just about all of our daylight, but I wanted to give you guys kind of a brief walkthrough of what's going on here, because I know it just looks nuts if you have no idea what's going on. So I'm gonna try to explain that a little bit. Basically, on a 3-position fireworks show, I found the best way to make your displays look bigger is by having the same effect that you have on the left and right station also in the middle. So you'll notice, I mean, here we've got 2, but you'll notice like we have a max load firework right here. And then we've also got another one over down there that fires at the exact same time as this one and that one. So pretty much just imagine you are making the 500-gram cake look larger than it is without getting repetitive and shooting them. Like if I was just lighting these 2 off right here at the same time, that would just look like an absolute cluster going up in the sky. You know, sky puke, it's kind of fun, but only in finales. We want this to look as coordinated as possible. So anyway, these are the Cobra firing systems. I've got the 72M in the middle position here, and that is set to channel 2, 4, and 5. Reason that is we skipped 3 is because when I'm scripting on the computer, it's a lot easier to just go in order. So for example, channel 1 is gonna be my left station. Channel 2, I just call it the middle. Channel 3 is always right station. And that's not really a big deal, but it is when we're doing red, white, and blue effects, which is what I wanted to talk about real quick. Right here, since we're in the middle position, this is where we would fire any white effects in a red, white, and blue segment, because you've got red, white, and blue. I'm over explaining this, I know, but some people do still get confused when I'm doing these walkthroughs, so I'm just trying to explain it as much as I can. So anyway, we got the 2 white right here. They're gonna fire at the same time in synchronization with the red and the blue. Now, these big boxes right here, I know you guys were kind of looking at. So this is what you call a compound cake. It's still in the box that it was purchased in. And the only reason for that is just because you can fully prep these compound cakes without even taking them out of the box. So we'll show you that real quick. I don't have my box cutter, but I can actually just cut into this one with my key. I'm gonna have tape all over it. But anyway, when you order these, it's a Pro line thing. So you can't get this on a consumer level, but if you get your certification, you can purchase these. Now inside, you'll see all these red and yellow numbers. So you got 1, 2, and 3 here. These are all separate cakes, just like, you know, something like this. That's exactly what these are. So these are like essentially 500-gram cakes, and this would be like a 1,500-gram cake. The trick is you can bypass all your igniters by connecting it like this. And this is exactly how you're supposed to do it. So you have the reserve fuse, which is the leader fuse into cake number 2. This feeds out of cake 1, and then it actually, we can undo it and show you. So it just goes like this, and then you just plug that in there. There's a little divot, twist it, lock it, and push it down. That's another reason why I leave them in the boxes, because if you fail to push this down on the side of the cake, what'll happen is when the last shot goes, it'll rip that out altogether. Like if it's up here, this has actually happened to me before, so I'm not just saying this, but that shell will hit this, split it, and you won't get any continuity throughout the rest of your compound cake. So be especially careful, you know, when you're hooking these things up. You want to make sure that your firework display is working. Now this is kind of cool. These racks I featured before in many firework displays. This was actually Garrison's concept idea here, and I was a big fan of it just because you can basically turn canister shells into slices, if that makes sense. We're not gonna have a good example here, so let's go over to the other one. All right, so this is the other one. The one we were just showing you is a part of the finale, but this right here is part of the main show. So inside these racks, it looks like this. It's a canister shell like you find at the store, like your Excaliburs and whatnot, but we remove the bottom and take all the lift charge out, and then we dump that lift charge in the tube, okay? What's cool is if you drill holes in the bottom of the rack, I don't know if we can really see it, you drill these holes, you can now turn canister shells into a cake by doing this. And I thought that was one of the coolest things ever. And then on top of that, with a rack design like this, where you've got, you know, these 5 and they're fanned, so they go off at an angle. What's cool is you're basically turning these canister shells into slices. And I really like the idea of being able to do that. Now, here's a problem we ran into. So these racks, there's no legs on them, okay? So they could rock back and forth like this. We had one ratchet strap, which we can show you over here. So you'll see, as an example, we can't move that. That ain't gonna tip over no matter what's in here. Like, you could have a 8-inch canister shell in here. Not a single thing's tipping this over. But the problem is we don't have another one, so we're gonna have to get one later for that. You wanna ratchet strap them together, especially if they're firing in sequence, because like it's really not gonna matter. This is all quick hobby fuse, the gray stuff. So like, as soon as the igniter hits, the fuse is already here. It's just boom. So yeah, they're gonna fire fast. If there were green fuses in these racks, I would probably have some sort of bricking system or leg system, just because then, you know, it would give the rack more time to wobble. But in this scenario, it's gonna be and it's over. So all they gotta do is leave the rack before the rack has time to tip. And by the time the rack gets here, the shells are already in the air. So should be a lot of fun. I mean, we're gonna obviously ratchet strap that thing. There's probably better ways to do it. Oh well. All right, couple things I like, no abs. If you introduce no abs into your firework displays, you're gonna get more wows, more oohs and ahs, if you will. The reason for this is because as a consumer, we can't purchase 1.3 professional grade fireworks. So we have to do what we can. And the best way that I know how to do it is with 3-inch shells and 1.4 Pro product, because this is actually the first time I'm using these slices here to complement these larger no-abs, which I've used in every display. It's just that normally I'd be firing a no-ab with a zipper cake. The back and forth ones, they go, sounds like a machine gun. Well, those look really nice fired underneath one of these just because of how high up these go. And so yeah, if you want to make your shows bigger, just use stuff like this. And like those over there, those 2-inch ones, like that blue one there, Golden Explosion and Split Decision, by just incorporating a few of those larger diameter spherical style shells. So that's the other thing too. In these racks, we've got canisters, okay? But in these cakes, it's a ball shell. You're getting a much more symmetrical break. It's just gonna look bigger, it's louder, it goes higher. It's about the closest thing you can get to 1.3 without actually getting it. At least until you upgrade to like the 1.4 Pro stuff, which we have over here. So slices, we got a whole bunch of them. I'm not gonna go through each and every one of these, but I threw my own rack design together. Actually, me and Brady built these in my garage. Just 2 screws on each side, just enough to hold them in there. Like, it's nothing really technical. These things go so fast that, you know, your window for error is almost non-existent. There's really no way that you'd have to worry about these tipping over, because as soon as the igniter hits that thing in the middle, the whole thing's done. All right, so slices. The reason why I've got so many of them this year is because they're going to accent some of my no-abs, which are on the left and right station. So if we walk down here, this is the left station. So trivia, what color is gonna be down here? I'll give you a few seconds to comment below. Tick tock, tick tock. Okay, well, if you said red, you were right. So we go red. Like now, if we look at the entire show as a whole, we have red, white, and blue. Makes a lot more sense. And, you know, your audience is gonna be watching from over there. Obviously, town is that way, so that's where people are gonna see it from. Okay, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So these are all my no-abs. It's the same over here as it is on the right station. And basically, just to get some larger shells up there, the smaller 500-gram cakes are mainly just to, you know, complement some of the other stuff in the show. Like, most of them are their own segments. Like, there's a point in the show where we only have 3 Sigmas going off. That's just because 3 Sigmas going off at once looks pretty cool. Just how we have 2 Sugar Highs going off and 2 Primal Screams and 3 of these max loads going off. Those are all segments, okay? And then we got like Golden Explosion and Split Decision. That's the same thing. Those are segments. We open with that. So we're gonna open with 3 Split Decisions. that'll come into golden explosion. It's gonna look really cool. It wouldn't look cool on its own, but it's gonna look cool when 3 are going off simultaneously. All right, so the fan slices in the script, I got them timed out about, there's 1 for each NOAB segment. So while this NOAB and that NOAB are going off over there, I will hit a slice like maybe 20 seconds into one of these cakes. So we're getting these huge, massive shots up in the air. And then boom, you know, everybody's looking up here. And then boom, you hit them with that fan slice and it just lights up the whole ground. They'll never see it coming. It's a great way to get eyes on every part of your display. Since we've visited every station but the right one, I think that's where we'll do kind of the closing commentary. Now you're gonna notice as we walk over here, everything is the exact same. There might be like a cake or two that are not in the same you know, style or whatever. Like for example, this one might have been over there. Doesn't matter, okay? They're close enough. But yeah, you're noticing that this is a mirror of everything we just saw over there. And that's, again, I'm gonna say, I probably said this like 100 times, but again, that is just to make sure that our display is looking as big as possible. A lot of times when you purchase these fireworks, like this is where the idea came about, I believe. It was kind of like Garrison and I both created this method, but people have been doing this for years, so we can't take credit for it exactly. When you purchase fireworks wholesale, you usually get 3 or 4 of them inside of a case. The issue is if you run all 3 of those cakes across different displays, or all 4, then for the next 4 fireworks shows, you're gonna just look repetitive. It's gonna look like all the same product because it is. You take 1 cake out of a case at a time, and it's just gonna make your shows look boring and dull. A good way to get around that, if you already have a bunch of firework cases, like I'm talking to you guys that do fireworks shows for your family on the 4th, any backyard guys, or any professionals too. One thing you can do is take that entire case of fireworks and run it as a segment in your show. So I know these are packaged 2-1. If I get 2 of them in a case, they're gonna be on a left and right kind of thing, you know? Does that make sense? I hope it does, because I'm done explaining it. All right. Finale time, the best part. So we're gonna be running 3 of these monsters right here. This is like a 100-shot dead heat rewrap. If you guys are familiar with that, it's like the big California stuff. Boom, 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 you know, that stuff. We got one of these, which is a pro line version of that. Now, except it's not. This one's angled. It is still pro line. You can see professional use only. I'm a professional. Am I? I hope so. I don't know. I'm about as close to a professional as you can get because I've seen some pros do the same thing I do. All right, anyway, this is a 30-shot Z-shape red strobe tail to crackling, but that crackling is a trick word. It's actually a salute. So we're gonna have that, Wizard brand fireworks. Like I said, same thing as dead heat, just at an angle. Then it's not over, okay? So there's a part of the finale that fires in the middle station we're gonna have to show you, but the very, very last thing on the script to go is this cake, which is the Howling to Thunder, one of my favorites. And this slice here, we've got 3 of them. This is just an instant red comet. It's gonna look cool. It'll be a fun way to send off the very last thing in the show, which is always this. Since I've got this timed out at about 3 seconds, I always go with 2 seconds on the script, and then I put this in at the very last second. So as these fire, we should get a 1-second delay, and then all 3 of our slices should go, making it a really bright finale. Okay, this right here is what I wanted to show you in the middle position because this is actually the only part in the show that is really different in the finale. These 3 slices right here are a blue lemon purple ghost, okay? So what happens here is it's a mine shell. Now a mine means the firework goes up in the air, but it doesn't explode. So it still shoots up like stars, if that makes sense. Anyway, I've got these going, and then the ghost effect changes color. So it'll start as blue, then go to lemon, and then to purple. But here's the kicker. So I scripted these at 1 second apart, and I went back and forth. So we start there. So it's gonna go down, that way, and then this way. I'm just very excited about that. I think it's gonna look super cool. And that signals the rest of the loud booms. However, there is another part to this, and it's over here. It's the one that we ratchet strap together. So these are all salute shells. They're just gonna be the loudest thing in the entire show. Should be a lot of fun. Well, anyway, guys, that's my show. I really hope, you know, fingers crossed it works this year. Last year we had just issue after issue. Trying to get that show even started was a nightmare. because after, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you guys don't see with these firework displays. There was a whole like 10-minute break right at the beginning. So like the fireworks had already started, and then we had to go to the pickups and start messing around with the remote, all because I forgot to put a trigger button on the script. Don't forget to do that, but if you do, I will say this again, just channel 0, Q1. That fires your show. So if you ever forget to put a trigger button on there, channel 0, Q1. Yeah. We'll see you when it's dark out. All right, guys, this is future me here talking to you guys before we light the fireworks off. I just wanted to explain one thing that happened here on the script before we actually start the display. So right here you can see my event times and then all the names of the fireworks right here. As you can see, we got my red, white, and blue segment starting at 55 seconds with a red comet, and then a few seconds later, a red peony. That continues for the entirety of the red, white, and blue segment. I mean, as you can see, we got the white comet, 55 seconds again, and then 103 for the peony. And lastly here with the blue comet and blue peony. The problem is I hooked up the blue peony here and the blue comet there. I didn't realize that the labels are very similar, so you'll notice there is a delay on the blue comet, and that's just because it fired at 103 instead of 55, because I didn't hook it up right. Other than that, show went great. Here's what it looked like. Everybody ready?
Oh yeah.
59.
Here we go.
Here we go.
awesome.
That was
That was
awesome.
the first time I've ever seen you do that.
That was good.
Heck yeah.
Well, it's the next day and now I gotta clean all this up, but it's about 50-mile-an-hour wind right now. You can probably see it whipping back here. Yeah, not looking forward to this. Also, hope you can hear me with this wind. Oh my goodness. Look at this. It might just blow away all the fireworks, then I don't have to clean them up, right? But what I was gonna say was, this show, literally everything went off but one thing, and I'm gonna show you that real quick. All right, you guys wanna see the only firework in this entire show that didn't go off is right here. So one of the cans didn't go, and this was the only thing. I already know what happened here. I think when we were loading these up, we accidentally double loaded the lift charge. So like the lift charge that was in the bottom of this shell got dumped into a different tube, giving it a double lift, because this should have gone off if there was lift in that tube. Just raking some stuff up, and I found a couple of interesting firework things here. So number one, these things are laying all over the ground. I'm not really sure what these are. I know I've seen them before after some past displays I've done, but I'm not sure what that is. Does anybody know? And the next item that I thought was kind of interesting is this. So this is what comes out of those howling cakes, the ones that were screaming. So they have a whistle up to a salute, and they actually exit the tube from down here. This is where all the rocket fuel goes, inside of this tube. But there's a hole up here, which I thought was kind of strange. So there must be some sort of like attached header that explodes, and this is where the fuse feeds into that. Otherwise, this entire tube, theoretically, it should be destroyed. Like there shouldn't be anything left, but it survived. So I don't know, I thought that was kind of cool. Look, you can see the ground through there. Nice. Here's a good example of one of those howler casings that would have had a salute in it. That's what it does to the thing. But then you get some like this here that completely survive. All right, well, I thought I was done finding weird stuff until I found these. So these are all over the ground as well, kind of like these are that we just showed you. But anyway, I just found these. They've got 3 holes in the bottom, and they're kind of similar to the other thing. But yeah, I have no idea what that's supposed to do. Maybe they're using these for tails. I don't know. Somebody comment what this is. Well, that's how you clean up a firework display right there. I gotta somehow find a way to fit these 3 NOABs in the back. Not sure if that's gonna happen because I've also got this tub of stuff I picked up from the ground. But at least we're cleaning up out here and doing our part. I hope you guys enjoyed my little firework display, and remember, this is an annual show, so come back next year around the same time and you'll get to see me do it again. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and let me know in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next one.